I see summer's on us and the baseball game's happening again. They're going to open up the dome. Let's have a seat. Let's make a quick tuna melt. I don't know, it feels like a baseball thing because I don't feel like making a hot dog. It's easy enough. Serrano, some pickles, a little bit of mustard, can of tuna. The wife made me some fresh bread, so I'll toast a piece of that and make an open-faced one. There's not really directions, just follow what I'm doing. It's pretty straightforward. So if you've watched my video on Dread, you may have seen me reference something called the main event. Now, I can't do it justice here. You're really going to have to read up on it. Guys like Athel K and Ian Ironwood talked about it a lot. Same thing as the Blue Pill Professor. But we're going to go through here what it means, why it happens, and what you do about it. Ooh, the one thing you do about this, if you notice, I'm going to slice the seeds out of it and just use the meat of the pepper. Trust me, this is going to be way too hot if you use a full serrano pepper on one open-faced tuna melt. Anyways, I'll paint you a picture. You're a guy who generally puts everybody except himself first. You marry the first girl who shows the slightest appreciation for this. Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. But you notice that initial sexual thrill of having two people, a girl desperate for unearned validation, and a guy desperate to work for it, and that thrill starts to waver. Quickly give it a bit of a buttering. I do this little thing where I only toast the one side of it in a frying pan. That keeps it from drying out, and you're going to get some crunch in your sandwich, while at the same time you don't have a toasted bottom that cuts the crap out of your mouth while you're trying to eat. Anyways, where a couple used to have sex like rabbits, it ends up being on a schedule of monthly, quarterly, annually, and then, dare I say, it's just done. Some of the worst guys I've seen on this have gone without for as long as a decade. I should say it breaks my heart, but they kind of did it to themselves. Anyways, they eventually find their way to our space. We get these cookie dough men. We show them Rollo Tomasi, Athel K, Ian Ironwood. I berate them like a drill sergeant until they come out of the other side forged like iron. They get into shape. They work out years of frustration on those workouts. They get their mind right. They switch their poor mental models with healthier, and more importantly, more successful ones. I also had a video out there on the 1,000-foot tow rope, so this work happens basically alone, by yourself. Skipping back here, when you're making the tuna part of the tuna melt, I just find a normal can of tuna, add your cut pickles, add the serrano pepper, and then just enough mayo to bind the thing together. I don't agree with those people that end up turning this thing to a mayonnaise sandwich with hints of vegetables and meat in there. As always, I prefer the Japanese mayonnaise. I don't know what it is. I think they add less sugar to it, but if you're going to notice here, it's just enough to keep it together. Start slow, add more over time. Feel free to throw some pepper and salt on it. The 1,000-foot tow rope, right. So this work you're doing, it happens alone. I know we can say that as married people we're on a team, but you're alone. Never forget that. Nobody cares about you, and that's all right. But it's fine. You learn how to become attractive, or how to become attractive again. You learn how to stop being unattractive. You're starting to look the part of a self-actualized, charismatic, lovable man. Set this up for a broil. Usually they just have low, medium, and high settings. I just say hi and get to it. At this point, you're just going to plate the sandwich and then put some shredded cheese on the top of it. When we grill it, all we're going to do is wait until the cheese starts to get a little bit of a crust to it, and then we're done. So the charismatic guy, that wife or that long-term relationship that you've been failing in for so long, the thing is, that girl's completely clueless as to why this is happening, and you're not telling her. I mean, why would you? If you do, you're either going to get her assuming that you're not going to follow through, and of course she would. You haven't followed through before, right? Or she's going to assume you will follow through, and that makes her feel bad. So subtly, subconsciously, she sabotages it. She doesn't mean to, she just feels bad. And she feels worse as you get better. So you keep all this work to yourself. She doesn't want to hear about it, and it makes it harder for you if she did. Eventually something happens. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, and it doesn't happen with everybody, but it does happen. See if you're lucky, and you got yourself a woman that's a good fit for you, one that's switched on, no serious daddy issues or otherwise damaged more than your average girl is. They'll see you step up, and they fall right into line. That's what she's wanted. She trusts her instincts and does what she has to do to keep her man happy. If that's you, it's great. You're one of the few, the proud. You're one of the top 20%. But for most of you guys, that's not what happens. Your woman is utterly confused. Her man is getting better. She's still falling behind. And everybody knows this story only ends one way. So the girl goes to her toolbox and starts using all the tools that used to work. Speaking of what used to work, this sandwich is really working for me. Anyway, sit back. Let's watch him open up the dome. Have a good lunch. The tools that she always used that used to work. So she tried nagging. She tries getting angry. She tries pretending to be hurt so you can protect her. And she tries feeding you during a cut. If you go back, I know I have a video on the different types of manipulation out there. At the very least, check it out there or on my blog. Thing is, she still doesn't feel sexually aroused by this. There's just too much baggage in her head from how things used to be. But in the back, small part of her little girl brain, she starts to feel something. It's a little spark. And that spark is eventually going to turn into a fire. And when it does, she can't ignore this anymore. And this is what's called the main event. If you've not heard of the term a comfort test, it's where a girl attempts to get assurances that you're not going to leave her. And the main event is the mother of all comfort tests. It's a last-ditch play to find some stability. Where is she in your life? What does she have to do to be there? What is it you're trying to accomplish? Why do I feel this genuine desire for this man that's been a bag of hammers the last couple years? It's all subconscious, but it's all there. Now, I'll warn you here, a lot of guys think they have a main event, but they really don't. They get a girl who starts getting angry, starts trying to communicate, starts all kinds of antics to pull you back into her frame, to make things go back to the way they were before. We're creatures of habit, and nothing bothers us more than when people don't act how we expect them to act. But that's not a main event. A main event, it's a visceral thing. I've said it before that if there's no snot bubbles, if she's not able to form a sentence without stammering, it's not a main event. It's the strongest emotional reaction you're ever going to see from a woman. Now, in this space, we talk a lot about submission. And it's an emotionally charged word, but it's exactly what this is here. It's the strongest display of submission a man will ever see in a relationship. It's when, in her heart of hearts, she submits to you. The strong, charismatic man of value, the one that she looks up to. It's the guy who has the right mix of desire and comfort, alpha and beta, serotonin and dopamine. And that's when you know you're no longer faking it. This is where you know you've actually made it. So you've got the reins back, maybe for the first time ever. You're leading the relationship, so don't screw it up, big boy. And this first step to what you do at this point, it's called the coming to Jesus speech, but that's a topic in and of itself. You'll have to keep an eye out for the next video where I get a chance to cover it. Summing up here, if you're running your male action plan, and you'll get one of these 3 positive outcomes. Well, 2 positive outcomes. One's just positive for you. The first, she either steps up to meet the challenge. Second, she fights you every step of the way until you have your main event. Or, maybe her daddy issues just run a little too deep, and she just checks out. Can't do anything about that. But you're ready for her replacement anyway, so just carry on. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. I'm going to give a shout out now to all the guys that follow me on Patreon. You guys are the champs. You're the reason I can keep doing what I do here. So, feel free. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification icon. Check out my blog. Links in the description. And I'll catch you guys later.